What's going on, gang? This is Zakk Wylde, Black Label Society, Ozzy Osbourne Band. We're all doing the hang, and you're watching Heavy Consequence.
Good to see you again, my friend.
Right back at you, my brother.
Let's get to it. Want to talk about the new album, Doom Crew Inc.
Yes.
Very cool title. As I understand it, a tribute to not just the legions of, brothers and sisters of the Black Label Society out there, but also a tribute to the crew that you travel with when you're out on the road. Can you talk about that decision to kind of name the album Doom Crew Inc. and dedicate it to those friends, family, fans, and crew?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I've always nicknamed the crew that from the beginning, the Doom Crew Incorporated, because it's just, when all else fails and nobody can get the job done, you send in the Doom Crew Incorporated, special ops. So, no, because they're like the first to bleed, the last to leave. I mean, and that's a case with every band. So, yeah, but, it's been laying around forever. It's been part of, our merch and everything like that since the beginning of Black Label. So, I just figured, there'd be it's about time we calling out in that. So, that's how it came about.
And the first single from the album is Set You Free. Can you talk about the decision to put that out there as the first taste of music for fans to hear?
Well, no, it's funny because that song came at the end of the writing of the record. The guys came out and recorded a whole bunch of songs, and I remember everybody went home. And then when I was, doing the vocals after we had tracked a batch of stuff, the guys usually go home after everything's been tracked. I remember I wrote a couple new things, like Set You Free was one of them. And then I ended up writing Forever and a Day, the ballad, one of the ballads. And then, when the guys came back out to mix, I said, have Jeff come back out and play drums. So, it's just, we ended up tracking those at the end. They came at the end of the session. So, but no, after we were done with Set You Free, obviously we were just like, man, it starts the record off. And then we just figured make that one a single.
Well, another song on the album that I thought was really strong title. And I was interested in who maybe you were talking about. You Made Me Want to Live. Is that, about someone in particular?
It was actually somebody had passed away. And I got inspired by it because I was just reading about. And it was just the references some people were talking about, like the comments people were, and I usually was looking at it and it said, somebody had said, you made me want to live, you know what I mean? In reference to that person. So I was just like, wow, that's like pretty powerful, because they had passed away or whatever, so it was just like, you made me want to live. So I was like, wow. I was just like, that's a cool title for a song, but I wrote the song around that, you know what I mean? So that's where that one comes from.
And I wanted to talk about End of Days, also another real powerful track on the album. Can you talk about that one as well?
Actually, I ended up writing that riff when we were testing amps, and I just ended up coming up with that riff. And I was just like, this is just because it's so basic and simple. I would just, I was just writing a riff just so we could test the amps to see which one, the sound quality on the amps, whether which one's bigger, because when you listen to the little speakers in the studio, they don't lie. They tell you exactly what that thing sounds like. When everything's blaring, you can't tell the difference. So, but no, I said that's where that riff came from. And then I just ended up writing the rest of the song. I had that, just the intro riff. And then when I write from beginning, middle, end, and they basically write themselves, you know what I mean? I think you ask anybody that when they sit and write a song. So, but yeah, that's where that one came from. And then, the way I always end up writing it, just usually the music first, then I'll inspire a melody. And then it's, lyrics are always last.
Yeah. And lyrically, can you talk about that one a little bit as well? End of Days?
Yeah, it's just, for me, all my lyrics are always obviously, personal things that have happened to you, things I've seen happen to friends, or, if there's anything that, I could read or just really interests me or anything, like when I read, when I wrote the song Crazy Horse, it was me and my one buddy, one of my buddies, Lee. He's Native American Indian. We always talk about like great quarterbacks or the best pitchers or whatever. And we were talking about Indian warrior chiefs, and you have Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse, Geronimo, and this and that. We were saying like who was the baddest ass of all of them. And we were just, we'd always get into these conversations. But I remember reading about, Crazy Horse. And I remember when I wrote that, I was just like, just on Wikipedia. And then I just used metaphors and everything like this. And then wrote it almost like if it was a book report on Crazy Horse. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it depends. For me, lyrically, it just depends on what I'm interested in.
Yeah. And you mentioned how this album is more of it features Dario a lot more. It's kind of more of a 2-guitar attack. In the vein of Priest and other great bands like that. Can you talk about that decision to kind of feature him more on this album and showcase his playing alongside yours?
Yeah, just, for me, it's just Dario, it's the evolution of where we're at now. I mean, it's just because throughout the years since Dario's been with the band since like 2014, he, I go, Dario, why don't you double this part of the solo with me in Stillborn, or double this part in Suicide Messiah, like older songs and stuff. So I just keep constantly giving him more roles to play, and get involved in the party more as we're going along. So to me, it's only natural that we're at where we're at. So, I mean, whenever I'm playing the piano, Dario's always doing the solos and everything like that. And, Dario's a phenomenal player, and he plays guitar, he plays piano, he sings, does dishes, laundry, makes an amazing chicken piccata. He goes with capers only. He doesn't use salt because he doesn't want it to overpower the flavor of the food. So, no, he's awesome. And Dario played his ass off on the album.
And you're in the midst of this big headlining tour. And as someone who's almost constantly on the road, whether it's with BLS, whether it's with Zach Sabbath, with Ozzy, what was it like for you to kind of have everything come to a standstill with this pandemic after being on the road, 30 years? And then all of a sudden, like, what was that kind of adjustment, that home life? And was it something?
No, me, I mean, it was the longest I've been home in 20 plus years, probably, because I mean, whenever I'm off the road, it's just, I'm home for 10 days or 2 weeks tops. So, and usually we have something to do, whether I'm recording or I'm doing something. So, I mean, it's not like I'm sitting on a couch for 2 weeks. So this was, I got a chance to actually spend time with my family, you know what I mean? So, I mean, for me, being home is the vacation. So, like when people go, when you get off the road, you're going to go somewhere, you're going to go to Hawaii on vacation, or you're going to go somewhere. It's like, no, sleeping in my own bed is the vacation. You know what I mean? I remind you, I wouldn't change my situation for anything. I love what I do. So, I mean, the reason why you have pictures of Jimmy Page up on the wall and all your guitar heroes, Frank Marino and everybody like that, is because that's what you want to do with your life. So I'm doing it. I'm blessed that I get to, I thank God every day that I get to do what I do. So, but no, being home for that time was great. So I could, taking Sabbath to his Jeet Kune Do classes, picking him up at school, the home, and walking the dogs. I told my wife, I was like, if you've never slept with a professional dog walker, now's your opportunity.
That's great. That's great. And, speaking of this tour that you're on right now, we've seen some tours get interrupted. There's a lot of protocols in place. What's it like for you performing now and the band performing with these protocols and other pandemic restrictions in place? Is it affecting the show? Do you see a difference in the audience? And what's it like for you on the road?
I mean, we did Sturgis. We did Blue Ridge Rock Festival. We did, you got like 30,000, 35,000 people at these showing up at these things. I mean, phenomenal. So, I mean, it's been awesome. And I mean, all the shows we've been doing out here on the road, we was just with the Kansas City chapter the other night. It was great. So, I mean, no, for me, it's weird. It's just like, I mean, it's so weird. The other night we were with the Milwaukee chapter at the rave. That was the last show we did before the world shut down. And here we are almost 2 years later, and we were playing there again. I go, wow. I go, it's like it just happened a month ago. I'm just saying how fast time flew by. So, when we got up there and we're playing again, it's just like, wow, it just seemed like we just went home for a little bit. We just came and we're right back at it. So, yeah, it's pretty, but the shows have been going slamming. Everything's been great.